Hey everybody, Red here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. Welcome back to another video on Dune Spice Wars, and I didn't think we'd get news on this game so soon, but in this video I want to go through an updated Q&A that the developers recently posted on Steam, which gives us some new insight to the game. Now it is a lengthy Q&A, so if you want to go to a specific question and answer, I will have them pinned in the timestamps below if you just want to jump to a specific section. But before I go any further, I should mention that I collaborate as a content creator for Demise, a global gaming community with millions of followers. We have a new apparel range and I have one of the t-shirts as well as a hoodie and really adore it since it's not only comfortable but warm as well. Other goods aside from the hoodie and t-shirt includes beanies and so much more, and if you want to jump on this and get a great discount, then visit the link in the description below and use the code RedTieGuy at checkout for 10% discount. Again, link in the description below for some great products, and now let's get back to the video. So the first question, what is Dune Spice Wars? Dune Spice Wars is a real-time strategy game featuring 4X elements based in Frank Herbert's Dune universe. How much will it cost? We'll announce a price point when we're closer to release and we know how much content we have in the game. Is it an RTS or a 4X? It is both. The game is real-time, but the pace is slower than a typical RTS, and you can pause and fast forward. The game also features exploration, territory control, economic growth, combat, politics, and spying, features that make it a true 4X game, but do not detract from the core RTS experiences that players would expect. Will there be base building in the game? You can construct buildings in your base of operations, Arrakis for the Atreides for example. This is shown as structures added to the base itself, and is an interface based. You don't manually place buildings on the ground as the game is at much larger scale than your typical RTS. Has any of the game been reused, recycled from Northgard or any of your other titles? Vikings are well known for their very bad weather disciples and so on. All aspects of Dune Spice Wars have been developed from the ground up specifically for this game. Which houses will be available to play? We've announced House Harkonnen and House Atreides as playable factions. We're planning to have 2 other factions at launch, followed by a 5th faction during early access and more later. Why is House Atreides green in the game when in previous games it was blue? To stay true to the books. Many things in Dune have been represented differently in shows, movies, comics, or games over the years. The Atreides banner and uniforms are described as green and black in the books, so that's what we went for in the game. Will houses from the classic Dune games make their way into the game? House Ordos. House Ordos was first mentioned in the Dune Encyclopedia and then in the video game Dune 2, but never in Frank Herbert's work. We're starting with what's in the books, and we'll see what would be best beyond that during early access. What similarities does the game have with your other title, Northgard? Both games are real-time games with a slower pace. Beyond that, the games are quite different. Dune Spice Wars is on a much bigger scale, featuring politics, trading, covert operations, and a deeper resource management system. Game length is also 2 to 3 times longer than Northgard, although this could still change at this point. Have you taken any inspiration from previous Dune games from this title? We've played all the Dune video games, Dune and Dune 2 especially, and all board games as well, so there will be some influence. That said, Dune Spice Wars is very much its own game with a unique take on the struggle for the control of Arrakis. Will this game feature procedurally mapped generation? Yes, the maps will be procedurally generated, with different options for sizes, wind strength, sandworm activity, and many others. Deep deserts are used as a kind of blocking feature, like seas in other games, at least until you develop technologies to survive longer in the desert, or build a network of airfields. Map will also feature unique places that readers of the books will recognize. Why did you choose to release this game in early access instead of a full game further down the line? We had very good experience with early access on our previous games. We were able to balance things better with player feedback, and we changed our release schedule to fit player expectations on several instances. Our goal is to have a very good game on day one, but we still want that opportunity to tweak or change systems or add content depending on what the community feels. Why did you choose the somewhat cartoonish and bold art style? Creating a game on a desert planet has quite a few challenges, one of which is making sure what you look at for a few hours is not bland, even if it's just rock and sand. We spend a lot of time working on the environment and even worked with the geologist specialists in deserts to create things that could exist on such a planet. The stylized art direction comes into play by adding things that bring a variety of colors and shapes so that the environment can stay harsh while not getting boring. Which languages will be supported? The final list will depend on metrics we'll get before early access, so it's a bit early to say, but we'll have at very least English, German, French, Spanish, Polish, Portuguese, and Russian. Will there be multiplayer? We will definitely do multiplayer, but that's obviously a big chunk of development, and we prefer to focus on the core gameplay initially. So the short answer is yes, and it will be a major update during the early access. Will there be a campaign? The campaign will not be present in the initial launch build, but like multiplayer is planned to come to the game at some point during the early access period. Will you have mod support? There are no firm plans on this front at this time, but should we see enough demand for mod support, we would be more than happy to look into this possibility. Will there be DLC? There are no DLC plans at this time, as we are focused on early access and ensuring the core game is enjoyable, feature-rich, and complete ahead of the full release further down the line. If there is still demand for more content and we can find a good reason for DLC, it may be something we explore, but it's too early to think about anything like that just yet. Which platforms will be supported? PC initially. We'll be looking at other platforms during early access. What involvement does Funcom have with the development of the game? Things are simple. Shira Games is in charge of the whole development process, and Funcom takes care of the publishing and marketing. Where will I be able to buy Dune Spice Wars? We'll have a Steam release in 2022. We'll also look at other potential distribution platforms in the coming months. And there you have it. That is quite a number of questions to run through. And of course, the biggest thing is the additional content, the additional houses, and DLC down the line, because they briefly mention House Ordos. I mean, somebody asked a question about it, and somebody also asked about the available houses that you'll play. And they did say that they only plan to release House Harkonnen and House Atreides as playable factions during the early access, but they also want to add 2 additional factions at launch, followed by a 5th faction during the early access period, and more later. That's what they say, and more later. So I won't be surprised if we do see House Ordos down the line, maybe as DLC, maybe after the game comes out of early access, because you gotta remember this game is releasing in early access 2022, so sometime this year this game is coming in early access, and I'm guessing it's gonna probably be about a year, 6 months to a year until this game goes out of early access. So you can definitely expect a major update when it's the full launch of the game, when it's the final version of the game, and that might come with an additional house, a 5th playable faction. Additionally, there was also asked if this game will have, base building, and even though you won't necessarily be able to build bases like in Command & Conquer, like in Dune 2, there will be, you will have your base of operations, and then you can add to the structure itself. So it kind of reminds me again of that game where you have, your base in the middle, and it's just, think of the original, almost like the original Battle for Middle Earth game almost, where you have base building to a sense, but you have hubs and sections where you can add buildings. You cannot necessarily, I know with the second Battle for Middle-earth game, they opened base building where you can build any structure anywhere on the map basically, and you can have some sort of creative freedom. But with the first game, you had sections where you click and you can select which building you want to build. So you'll have this hub where you can just add to it, and looking at the screenshots and the gifts that they've shown on Steam and released on social media, looking at the bases, you have your big city that's in the center, and you have these smaller towns just outside of the city. So I'm guessing your city center will be your main hub, and then you'll be able to add walls and defensive structures and maybe resource buildings and barracks and stuff like that to the main city. And then these towns will just be resources and maybe where you can recruit more reinforcements or something like that. But I'm glad there will be base building. It won't be as open as most of the strategy games that you play today, but it will be in there nonetheless. And then they don't touch on the final release date of the game, they just say 2022, and there will be multiplayer as well. That is good to know. So overall, there's quite a bit of information to take away from this, basically this Q&A session that they updated. I will leave a link of this in the description below if you guys want to check it out yourself. But let me know in the comments below what you think of this new information that was revealed to us, this new Q&A section. Is there something that you have a question about? Is there something that you don't like? Is there something that turns you off from this game? I would love to know in the comments below. And for more gaming content and Dune content, check out the rest of my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, then give me a thumbs down. But please tell me why so I can improve my videos. My name is Frank, I'm the RedTieGuy, and frankly, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.